Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tavern Adjacent. Today, we're joined by two guests this time. Yeah, I know, that's real different this time around, but we've got Dingo and we've got Felix joining us for the show. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. But before we get started, I gotta establish, what do you guys do? You know, you haven't been on the pod before. We've been jumping on a lot of new guests recently, and I think a lot of people already know who you are, but I just want to make sure to establish expectations before we, go right into the topic. So, before we start, what do you two do? What's your channel about? Give us the spiel.
Yeah, totally. I guess I'll start. So I'm Dingo. I'm from the channel Dingo Doodles, and essentially I animate and retell a Dungeons and Dragons story that I did back in 2016 to 2018, and it's episodic, and I update every 2 months or so. But yeah, I'm pretty much like an animator, storyteller. That's my main focus for myself. And I tell a story called Fool's Gold. So, yeah.
And I'm Felix.
Awesome.
So, I'm Dingo's partner as well. She animates the campaign that I GM'd for her many years ago. Mm-hmm. And since I've kind of joined in, and I wrote the campaign setting for Fool's Gold, which should be coming out later this year, finally, the PDF at least. Mm-hmm. And I'm also in the process of starting up a video game company.
Amazing. So, honestly, I've got so many questions for you guys, but, first and foremost, both of you have already established, we've got our own homebrew world. You've created the world of Fool's Gold, this RPG land for people to adventure through, and I'm going to be honest, right out the gate, I talk a lot of shit about homebrew worlds and world building because it's tough, it's really hard, and there's a lot of things that are really common that often can be mistakes in the D&D world. So when you guys were building out this world for people to, actually play in, what were some of the biggest struggles that you encountered? Because it can be really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, it can be. In terms of the book, it was really tough. First of all, because we played 3.5 and we had to convert everything over to 5. And the other thing that was really hard is that when you homebrew at a table, you can just throw something out there and it's like, oh, yeah, that's funny. We play with it. That's all great and stuff. When you put it in a book, you have to be extremely detailed and specific, because people will then say, well, this is the law, and if the law is vaguely written, they're going to abuse it, and then that blame essentially falls on me instead of the person that's abusing what's written down.
Yeah.
So there was a transition between oh yeah, this is just a fun idea, to be wait, no, we actually have to figure this out. We really have to get into all the nitty-gritty details to make sure this is rock solid, and appease the rules lawyers.
Yeah. Writing your own book is a lot of work. Do you two have any insights into people who actually want to, translate their adventures from just, hey, this is what we're doing, at the table, to, doing something in an actual book? Because a lot of people say they want to do that, but sometimes they don't understand, here's the actual struggles.
Yeah, the actual work that goes into it.
Yeah. It's a lot more than you think.
Yeah, it's a lot more than you think. I think some of it has to stem from like what you were saying. You have this great idea, but then when you actually put it down on paper, you're like, I need to think about how people can abuse this and try to curve that so that everybody's having fun at the table. So I think that's one of the biggest struggles.
And also find yourself a person who's not a yes man, someone who will actually look at what you wrote and be like, this is crap, this makes no sense, why are you writing it like this? And then actually push you to improve it and write it out properly, and ask you questions that you never thought of asking yourself, which then in turn makes the book a lot more, rich and detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some good critique will do wonders for your creative career.
Yeah. And I think if you struggle with critique, because especially young artists, because it's their soul they're putting on the paper or whatever. So if you need to get some critique, it's best to kind of look at it as a third person's perspective of okay, this isn't what's wrong with your script. It's this is what's wrong with the script itself. It's kind of like changing the dialogue in your mind of like, okay, you want to change a song or something like that that you're working on. It's like it's the song's, it's its own entity. It's separate from you. So you have to kind of distance yourself from your work. It can be hard though.
It is super hard. Like it's good to be proud of your work, but you need to separate your ego from it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Which is way easier said than done.
Yeah, and also remember, like you said, it's you're critiquing the work. It's not just critiquing your work, though. Some people also view it as like critiquing you, the person. But it's even though it can be hard, just try not to take it personally, unless it is personal. Then you could take it personally.
If they make it personal, then you got the wrong person to talk to.
Well, and if it's a personal work and you put it out into the world, and it's just this is like nobody can give you critique, then it's like, okay, then you have to expect it to do what it needs to do, which is essentially satisfy yourself, and that's it. Like, it can go out in the world, and if it does well, great. But if it doesn't, then you have to be satisfied with that you put out your voice, you made the thing, and now you're done with it, and that's great. I mean, that's another way of doing it. Just don't have expectations on it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And speaking of putting yourself into your work, I mean, we all put aspects of our own styles into what we create. And obviously, like, you two have your own style when it comes to creating content and creating, works for TTRPGs. So how does your own, like, style, your DMing style, for example, jump into your work? Because, we all have our own unique flair. So how does yours showcase through the things that you put out in the world?
Well, in terms of DMing, I have a certain style and humor between... There's a lot of laughter, and then here and there is definitely some crying. And the same tone...
No one's complaining.
No, exactly. That same tone, I did my absolute best to translate into the book, that if you read through it, it's actually... It can be quite funny to read through some of these things, just in the way they're written. Not just like, it's joke after joke. It's just... I don't know. I want to give an example, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I can't really give an example.
You're like, I always think of your DMing style as emotional whiplash.
Yeah.
It's just like you'll be crying and sobbing, and then you just come in with like anyway, we're going to solve this problem now with with a bicycle. And you're like, what are you talking about? And it's like, yeah, we're doing a bicycle. And it's like, oh, okay. Like somehow you turn it and you flip it, but it works. I personally love it. I mean, your DMing style, I love. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm telling the story.
Well, thank you. But it was really important to me that when I wrote this book, that style was going to be present in it. Like, it's very easy to make a very, formal Dungeons and Dragons expansion book kind of thing, but it's like, no, let's make this funny, but not just stupid. Like, actually, there's good content here, but it all will give you...
For the record, I don't think it's easy to make a normal Dungeons and Dragons book.
but the formula is there. Like, you can look at a book and it's like, you can see the formula here. Whether the context is good or not is a different story.
Yeah, no, totally get what you're saying. You brought up humor for a second. I do want to ask this because communicating humor through writing is really friggin' tough sometimes, especially since humor is one of the most objective things out there. Like, I'll lose my mind at something that makes my friends just stone-faced, So how have you balanced that line between figuring out what humor will appeal to the widest audience and appeal to yourself as the writer?
Oh, easy. Well, kind of easy, where, like, I felt that my humor is funny, and in a way I just said, that's just how it is, and I'm going to write it this way, and people can take it or leave it.
I mean, that's comedy in general. Like, everybody has different tastes.
You know what I love about you Felix, man? Every time I'm like, man, this thing seems really hard, you respond with, nah, it was easy. I love that.
Well, it's like...
No, it's good. It's
some
good
things
to have
can
that
be
kind of
simple.
confidence.
Some things can be simple without being easy, and vice versa.
Without
too.
overthinking it.
I can't appeal to the widest audience, because if I tried to do that, this book would be entirely different. If I just tried to, let's mass market this. We need numbers. We need stats in here. Like, no. We didn't do that for this book. It's just like, we're going to write this the way I made this campaign, which is what brought people, like our fans, together in the first place. So I know at least they're going to love it. And I think there's an appeal for a lot more people out there once they read this to be like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty witty. This is great. So, well, hopefully at least. Or I'll just cry myself to sleep if that's not the case.
Nah, not necessary. So, all right. next up, like we've talked about the world, we've talked about humor, we've talked about like all the aspects of creation, but like when you get down to the nitty gritty, so much of Dungeons and Dragons and TTRPGs, it's about characters, you know, not just the player characters, but the NPCs. And you guys have made some memorable characters. In fact, one of these questions that was submitted to my inbox was just somebody asking about SIPs. So, you know, I wanted to ask, like, how did you guys go about creating? I mean, I don't know if you guys were like, we need to create a really memorable character that a lot of people are going to love. But even if that wasn't the intention, you did it. So, like, what's your creative process when you're trying to make people, that actual people, real people are going to sympathize with, understand, and enjoy on screen?
It's a very interesting process because during the campaign, you just kind of try shit. Oh, sorry, that was our second shit. No, that's our third. But you just kind of try stuff.
No, we're out of budget. No more.
Yeah, no more.
But when you do your own campaign, you just kind of try stuff. And when we kind of call the first campaign that like the actual played campaign that we did, we call that the first draft. Then Dingo came in and made the videos. We kind of call that the polished, more second draft. And then the book is like the third, like final draft where we found all the kinks and ironed things out. But I think, Dingo, you can talk a lot more about how you transformed characters, you know, from the table into likable and dislikable characters for the series.
Yeah, I mean, like, my background's a lot in writing comics and comedy, but also writing pilots for television shows. So my angle is much more in the, like, okay, let's try to rip this character apart and really get to their core. Like, what's their actual core issue? What's their core problem? And when you get down to it, each character has relatable issues because that's just how humans are. We all in our real core, we have a lot of the same issues, and we have a lot of the same fears. We have a lot of the same, you know, little quirks and things. So I think that naturally went into these characters. And as I started to deconstruct them and reconstruct them, I was starting to realize that a lot of their core issues was sometimes related to the people that had been playing them or myself. Like Sips is my character, and I subconsciously put my problems into him. So it's very interesting because having people relate to him is meaningful to me because it's like, oh, there's that connection. I feel that art is all about connection. So for me to make a character that people are like, wow, I actually really get this character, it's like, oh, that's so great. I mean, I'm sad at the same time because I understand the problem. I understand the issue. So, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of naturally came in. And a lot of it's just feeling it out, I find. Making these characters, it's feeling it out. Like, the entire series is one big exploration of writing and voice acting and drawing because it's just, I've never done this before, and it's taught me a lot. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when it comes to, sometimes it can be nerve-wracking to like put your work out there. Not just your work though, but characters that, like you said, you really related to, that you put a lot of yourself into. Like, what was it like putting that in front of an audience? And what was it like when you realized, like, oh crap, people are really watching this? Because when you start on YouTube, like, you got nothing, but you grow. When you realized that you were growing, and when you realized more people were coming in, what was that feeling?
It was overwhelming. I mean, to be honest, like, my very first video, which was the karaoke video, did blow up. I had like 600,000 views in a week, and it was insane. It was like one of those things where I was just like, just stop, you know, like, wait, hold on. Because I just made it out of a thing that I just wanted to do. I was like, I just really want to tell this funny little story because I thought it was great, and then I was going to move on. And when I realized that people were interested in the story, and I was like, what if I just kept going? And I did. I just kept going, and nobody's really told me to stop, so I just kept going. But it is nerve-wracking. It is nerve-wracking to kind of expose yourself to the world, especially these characters and the way they feel. Especially right now, like in the series currently, I'm working on episode 30. But the previous episodes have been so emotionally taxing where it feels very exposing. It feels very kind of like weirdly embarrassing because I'm showing off parts of my own personal character to the world, and people can judge that right away. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? It is for me. Like when I create art, it is for me. Of course, I have to think about how does it translate and how is it shown to the audience. But at the end of the day, it's like, look, doing my best, and this is kind of what I need to do and need to put out there, and this is what you get. So, and people seem to enjoy it, so I'm happy with that. But if they don't, I still want to be satisfied by my work, and that's my main bottom line.
All right, so like we've gone through the creative ruckus, so we're gonna jump into more like D&D related topics. But before we do you guys have any like final advice? Anything you want to say to like aspiring creatives out there who want to like put their work on the internet or like go work for a studio? Like, what's your final pieces of advice before we jump into talking about Dungeons and Dragons?
I guess mine is always that it's a long road, but it's worth it. Along with that, I mean, it's just
do it.
Yeah, just do it. It is worth it. It is worth it in the end to do this, because if you're not gonna do it then when? When are you gonna actually do it? You might as well just go for it. There's no problem here. Just take a chance.
Take a chance. A lot of people will over-prepare, but it's way better if you just start throwing stuff out there and then learn through that rather than your research.
Yeah.
All awesome. That is amazing advice. So, without further ado, guys, let's talk about the actual game. We're back! Hi, guys. So, So, jumping into more D&D related stuff, I asked JoeCat this question when he came on the show, and I'm curious if you're going to give a similar answer, because a lot of people have been asking us here at the tavern, like, Crispy, how do I find my style as DM? Because you're always talking about how everyone has their own unique DMing style, but I have no idea what the hell mine is. So how do I find it? And I think that it's cool to ask various DMs how they found their own styles of DMing or their own play style. So what do you guys got for how you guys found your own unique way that you play this game?
That's an interesting question.
So is there even an answer besides just screw around? I mean, really, we just sit together. Okay, it helps if you sit together with people you trust. That helps.
That's always
we had, our real life friends that we were playing with. So I know I could be an idiot around them, and I would only hear about it from them, nobody else. But you I just kind of screwed around. I was very inspired by video games. So I was playing like Dark Souls and Zelda, Breath of the Wild, those kinds of things. And I was like, ooh, can I do that mechanic, but like in D&D? And I played around with a little bit of that. And I guess...
Did you see the Tears of the Kingdom trailer?
I'm actually staying away from it because of spoilers. I don't want to know anything about I've seen the first reveal. I've seen like the new Ganondorf design. I've seen that, but otherwise I'm staying away from it because I want to be completely surprised.
Swole hot Ganon. I really liked it. I kind of hope like he gets swole like halfway through the game, because that mummy design is great. I actually think it's a phenomenal look for him. But yeah, sorry. So
no, it's okay.
Because I watched that trailer like 30 times. I think I cried the first time. Not joking. I got the notification it came out when I was taking the recycling out to the dumpster. I watched that in an empty parking lot in my car in my tiny little phone. Arizona sun beaming through my window. It was still awesome.
Worth
it.
It
Was worth it. Yeah.
Absolutely worth it. I'm so excited for that
game. Can a month just go by faster, man? You know?
I know.
Yeah. It's even worse because like it's coming up for Switch and I've pre-ordered it, and then like 2 weeks after it's out, she's gonna take the Switch and leave for another country on a vacation. It's like, no, I'm gonna have to wait even longer.
$300, man. It's not that much. Get another one.
just go.
That's what people tell me, but I'm a cheap bastard.
Me too. But there's some things that are just that worth it. You know, I just bought I was at Disneyland, and do you guys do Lego?
I love Lego.
Hey, okay, so you know the Lego Rivendell set? 500.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was at Disney, and I saw it on the shelf early, and I was like, oh, man, I want to get so bad. And I was there with my family, and my dad was like, just get it. And I'm like, where am I going to put it? I don't have anywhere for it. So now I'm buying a $200 shelving unit just so I can place down this set for no other reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to invest in your happiness and in really stupid, frivolous purchases.
Well, funny enough, I only
If
like
you
I bought
have
the
the
Switch
money.
the first time in order to buy Breath of the Wild. So now if I buy another Switch just to buy the sequel, it feels like a bit of a pattern.
It's a good pattern, though. Patterns aren't necessarily bad, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun pattern. It's a bit expensive.
But what were we talking about? Right, your style. You were talking about your style. So, Dingo, that's his DM style. You got it from video games. What about you for playing the game?
Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's like playing around, figuring out what makes you feel comfortable. Sometimes you get inspiration from watching other people play or listen. Like, I started to really love D&D when I was listening to the Adventure Zone, because I realized that you could play differently. You could kind of just play in like this kooky, fun manner without taking it too seriously, and you could just kind of like dive right into story and pull that character's like problems out and talk about them. Like, that's awesome. So I kind of learned from just like listening to the Adventure Zone and experimenting and see what I like. But I also think like it's not a big deal if you don't have a style. Like, it's one of those things where it's like with art. People keep worrying about like, what's my art style? What's my art style? And it's like, dude, sometimes it just naturally comes, and you're gonna change all the time. Like, you're human. You're just gonna change. You're gonna find new things that you like, and then just add and get rid of things, and that's totally fine too.
Out of curiosity, did you guys change? Like, how has your style changed over time? Because, like, I thought I was a roleplay heavy DM for the longest time. I'm a huge Critical Role fan. I love role-playing. But as I kept on going, I realized, damn, I love combat way more. And I love it, like, a lot. So how did you guys change over time?
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely changed over time of just like, I used to just avoid doing a lot of role play, but now I'm like super all role play. Like, I can have a whole session without one role and I'm happy. Like, it's totally fine. But yeah, I think it was, no role play, then lots of role play. When it came to my DMing style, I realized that my strength was world building. So I could make beautiful worlds, beautiful like mechanics. Like, I realized the mechanics was one of my favorite things. Just like, I want to figure out how things work. I want to figure out like, how do they balance and how can you break it and does it make sense and stuff like that. So yeah, that was just a lot of trial and error. That was fun.
What about you, Felix?
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I usually just pick something that I continue to try to improve on. Like, I started with not a lot of roleplay, and then later on we roleplayed a lot more. I'm like, oh, hot damn, story, I like this. So I combined it with combat, and I make very narrative combats. And I just pick things to try to improve. Like, eventually I was like, I want to make better NPCs, and I kind of nailed that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh yeah,
man, I gotta like make better descriptions of my worlds and my settings, because sometimes I find I have a scene in my head already that I then I should be describing in more detail to translate the scene in my head into other people's heads, but it's already so clear in my head, I neglect to fully get into it. So I'm going to be working on that in my next few sessions and such. Yeah, I just kind of got better, especially at improv, because I love improv. So eventually I just challenged myself. I was like, okay, let's see, how much can I do? How crazy will the session get? How much cheese are we going to involve in this one? So, yeah.
This is a crazy whack piece of advice that I give a lot of people who are in university still. But seriously, take an improv class. You won't regret it. Like, it's fun. It's helpful. It's really helpful. It's a very practical life skill to learn how to just completely make up something just right in the spot. It's very helpful. I love improv.
Just definitely. Improv is the way to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But anyway, like, I mean, I say that, but as a DM, I'm actually very planny with all of my notes and stuff. But, sometimes, hey, yeah, you're right. Improv is the way to go. So, like, what is your top advice for somebody who, like, needs to figure out something on the spot? Their players are just crazy. They don't know what they're going to do, but they also don't really want to do the railroad thing. So, like, how do we, balance around players who are going to make something that you didn't see coming? Like, how do you improv that kind of thing? What's your advice?
Ooh, I mean, with practice, you just kind of go for it. I mean, in improv, if you've taken a class, you learn the rule of yes and. You know, you don't really say no and then you move on. Like, no, you interact with whatever they're throwing at you. And that's the same principle I run it with. Like sometimes because we've established a lot of trust in our group, my players will actually start making stuff up about the world. Even like, yeah, I'm from this town and this place. And I'm like taking notes, like, okay, that exists now, sure. But because we have the trust to do that. So you just kind of got to go for it. Patch your plot holes later, not in the moment. Just go
Don't
for
worry
it.
about it.
Fix later. No worries. And don't be afraid. Make it weird. It's fun.
And sometimes you can even use like little lists if you want. Like sometimes there's like the 100 quests or something, just like a prompt. If you need to use a prompt, because like I'm not great at creating prompts, so I just have a list beside me that's like, oh, dwarf is missing pumpkin because pumpkin turned into spider, and it's like, why did that happen? And then you have to like slowly build on that and figure it out. Those can be very helpful.
Yeah, knowing which questions to ask yourself in order to build something quickly is a good tool.
Also, if you've got the brain space while your players are talking, start writing down ideas. Just small little journaling, even like 3 to 5 bullet points, can make the difference between figuring something out and being completely stuck. That's always saved my butt.
I tried that once. Does not work for me.
Really? Wow. That saved me at state. No, it does not work for me. I need to be just, I don't know, just in the moment, in my head. I can't look at anything else like paper. Wow. I tried once to actually plan out a campaign. Like I did my first one with like probably, let's say 20% planning, 80% improv. And for the following campaign, I was like, you know what? I'm going to plan so much more right now. I'm going to make all these characters, make all this plot. It's going to be great. So I kind of flipped it, where it's going to be like 80% planned, 20% improv. And I nearly quit the game forever. I hated it. I hated every moment of it. I was getting like depressed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Man,
I wrote it down after the fact though.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. I mean, honestly, that just proves it. Like everyone's got their own bubble that you play in, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, whatever works for you. Fair game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I gotta ask, like, what are your favorite aspects? This is something I just like hearing from people. But what are your favorite aspects of the game? Like, we're all drawn to D&D for different reasons, drawn to TTRPGs for different reasons. And, I want to know, like, what are your reasons? What are your reasons that you keep on coming back week after week? What are the reasons that you prep for 4 hours plus a week? Like, why do you do it?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, that's...
No, yeah. I know, but like first of all, I like my friends. Mm-hmm. I like hanging out with my friends, and getting to do that every week is awesome. And I like video games, and I like games in general. And what is D&D but video games without any of the hard work like graphic and design and programming and stuff? It's where I can test gameplay concepts and ideas, because we homebrew everything. So I homebrew a ton of stuff just to test things out. And I just love coming up with fun ideas and being like, ooh, I wonder how they're going to react to this, which is probably why I like subversion so much, and, well, emotional whiplash, as Dingo calls it.
Yeah.
And I like getting reaction out of people. Like to see the screaming, the crying, what the actual hell is going on here, the kind of reactions. Like, I love that stuff. So that's probably what gets me coming back over and over.
Yeah, mine is, I like to just play other people. Like, I love acting as other people because I like to explore and figure out their psychology. It's like, why did they do this? Why is that the way it is? And it's like, I don't know. And then you just, as you play, you start to learn more about this character. You start to learn about their motives, and it starts to surprise you sometimes. Like, I've had it where I've actually, like, played a character and I've said something as the character that surprised me. I was like, I didn't think I was going to say that, but I did. And then it like totally changed the whole plot for a thing. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I just like, I don't know, it just like came out of nowhere. It was wild. And it's learning about these characters that really excites me. So I'm much more of a storyteller than an experienced creator like Felix. So yeah.
Well, also, like, you kind of mentioned something that triggered another thought in me, which is I love exploration. Mm-hmm. And me as the DM, I get to explore just as much as my players.
Yeah.
Even in my own world, especially because it's improv.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. So I asked you guys before we started recording the segment if you had any horror stories. They said no, but luckily the audience has horror stories. So guys, you ready to take some calls?
Yeah.
All right, you sorry fools. Let's see what you guys have for us today.
Hey, Crispy, hey, Dingo. First of all, I'm a big fan of Fool's Gold. So, my question is, how would you recommend going about playing a wild magic sorcerer? I have a character who has some wild magic issues, and that I kind of was very much influenced from Sips, and I just want to get your opinions on that and stuff. Alright. Bye.
That was so sweet.
That was so sweet.
Yay.
Yay.
So nice. Well, it's for you.
Yeah, no. Okay. I mean, the big thing with playing a wild mage is that you have to just like lean into the chaos and enjoy the failure, because like there will be tons of failure that happens from it, but that's kind of the fun part. I liked it because it was just like, all right, let's see what kind of craziness that's going to happen when I mess up. I would look forward to it and really lean into it because it creates like a drama, it creates issues, it creates like character growth and so much good stuff. So I mean, lean hard into it. It's so fun, and I'm excited that you're playing one because like not many people do it because they are so scared of failing, but it's not really failure, it's just changing the story. So you're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
and also talk to
definitely.
your DM about like what you expect from like the chart, like what kind of wild magic chart are they using, because you know some DMs use different ones. By the way, I'm curious about, you know, I forgot that you're like a wild magic connoisseur. I gotta ask you a question about wild magic, if you mind.
Sure.
We'll get back to the voicemail in a second, but I just thought of this. I have a wild magic sorcerer in my party, but we have reframed all of our specs are all homebrew just because why not?
Yeah.
And this wild magic spec, you have 6 smaller tables. Each table has a theme: offense, defense, creation, transformation, etc. You pick a table, then you roll. So how do you feel about that kind of level of control
Oh, interesting.
over Yeah.
Yeah, that you can control it. That's interesting because that can really benefit, like, you know, it can benefit you if you're fighting against something and then you use something that's like, oh, it'd be cool if I could like create something here, or like offense, defense. I guess it's kind of like, for me, I wouldn't enjoy it, but that's a personal preference because I like to be completely out of control when it comes to that stuff. I love it when it's like, I really don't know what's going to happen here. But if it's like, if you're a person who really needs that control but still wants some wild magic, I think that is a good option, that you kind of get to choose at least the category, and then you kind of let go and go, okay, well now at least I know the aspect of what's gonna be kind of happening. So yeah, it's an interesting solution.
Yeah, it was interesting because like a couple of the options are like, they're good, bad. Like one of them is set your health to 50%. If you're at full health, that's a disaster. If you're at 1 health, that's a miracle. I love wild magic stuff like that. It's like my favorite thing. By the way, Felix, is the chart homebrew, or is it rules as written?
Homebrew. And it's not just chart,
Yeah.
it is charts with an S. There's many charts.
Yeah.
I think there's about 4 or 5.
Yeah, 5.
So is there like hundreds of options? You'll never find all of them.
Yeah.
The book has, if I'm not mistaken, it has 500 effects.
Ooh, you need to pick that up.
It was, either 4 or 500 if you count curses. It's a good time, and I had a very good time writing them, because I'm just like, whenever I wrote them, I was picturing the rage that people are gonna throw at me from like Twitter or something. It's like, Felix, you did this in our campaign, and I'm like, yes, tell me more, please.
Destroyed the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, don't be afraid of wild magic. Even as a guy who like who helped my player to get more strategy and, you know, choice in the wild magic, I mean, I still give them items that are legit wild magic, where it's completely random because it's funny. It's just cool.
Yeah. It's just fun. It can be really cool. I've had some cool moments just because of wild magic.
Yeah.
So,
And resist the urge to fudge the dice.
yes.
Resist
Yeah,
the
don't
urge.
lie.
Resist.
Don't lie.
Resist.
Just let the chaos reign with this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. I hope that helped out our voice caller number 81.
Yeah. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
nice and sweet. We're starting soft though. That's the sweet one. We're starting soft. I don't actually know how bad they get. They don't get that bad. There's one that I got that was insane, but I was like, I don't know if I can do that in an interview because it's too crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I held that one back just for myself. Unless you want it. Do you want it?
Why don't we try these ones first?
Sure,
See
how about that? All right, this one, full disclosure, the person who sent this in, they sent it in through email because they didn't want their voice on the pod, so this is a friend of mine who's reading it. The voice does not reflect the person who sent this in.
Got it.
The group I'm a part of just finished a part official, part homebrew version of Lost Mines of Fendelver. It was awesome, and we decided to continue the campaign with mostly homebrew stuff, with the DM saying he needed a couple of weeks to come up with new content. I responded by bringing up a bunch of loose ends and characters we haven't seen for a while that I remembered, saying that's what my character would want to investigate. My question is, was doing that overstepping? I'm worried that he'll either see me as someone too nosy and annoying, or will change what the story would have been to accommodate my suggestions and resent me for it, or both. I know I'm overthinking this, but I'd still like your opinion on it.
Thanks, Kyla.
Well, you're definitely overthinking it. I can confirm that.
Damn.
But
Right out
no,
the gate.
it's honestly, if that was a player that came to me as the GM with these requests, I would love them for it, and they would get all the special treatment because of it. Because it allows me to open up the world. It's like, great, give me these prompts. Like, what do you want to know? Great. It lets me know, oh, this is what you're interested in. I can't read their minds all the time. So it's like, okay, good. We're going to expand on that. We're going to set up a little quest for it. Perfect. If you don't communicate these things to your GM, they have to be really good at mind reading to accommodate it otherwise. So the fact that you're making this request, your GM should love you for it. So feel good about it. Actually, I would applaud you that you put so much thought into your character and like the request you made to the GM. So kudos to you. I hope that led to an awesome adventure for you, or leads if it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Dingo?
I agree. I fully agree. Yeah, it's one of those things where more communication the better. And the DM, it's not just the DM's story, it's everybody's story. So you all have the ability to put your input into it, and it should be treated like that.
Yeah, a lot of DMs will like prompt you for criticism, and honestly, like it makes us pretty nervous when no one gives any, you know? Even if you don't give any negative criticism, like that's still concerning because some people like, you know, they get in their own heads and they're like, oh, well, what if they're holding back for a risk of hurting my feelings? You giving them something to work with, now they can work with that thing. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. Just don't feel offended if they don't happen to do all the things you suggested. That flips into the other side of things.
Yeah.
If you list off 10 things you want to investigate and you only get to do 2 of them, be happy.
Yeah, because you got a lot going on at the table, and also remember that like other players might have their own requests and criticisms. They might have their own things that they want to deal with, and the DM can't do everything at once in a 4-hour session. Like sometimes
That's
it's just
right.
not practical. You might need to wait. Patience is key.
Yes.
Yeah, my players requested a whaling session like 2 months ago. We haven't gotten to that. Sorry, guys. But we got stuff to do. Vecna's on the loose. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah. What, are you going to
Vecna
go
can
whaling
wait.
right now?
Well, I was thinking
Invite
like
Vecna
the
to go whaling.
We could make the whaling like relevant to Vecna somehow.
True.
I'll figure something out. I just gotta think through that. But yeah,
Does it say in the books that Vecna cannot be a whale?
No, it doesn't. But
Wouldn't that be a
unfortunately-
plot twist?
Yeah, Vecna being the whale they pull out of the ocean. I feel like
This is the shit my players deal with.
I'm worried that I've waited too long though, because they stopped because they for the longest time were like, oh, we love fishing, but I feel like I've waited too long because they're not fishing anymore. No one's fishing anymore. No one's asking me about the whaling thing anymore. So I'm like, has that ship sailed? Pun totally intended. Damn it. I'll ask him about it sometime.
If the joke would still land, I would do the absolute long con, get to like the near end of the campaign, lure them onto a fishing boat, and there is whale Vecna popping out of the water to blow their minds.
Yeah,
It just turns out to be his pet.
Yeah. Vecna's familiar is a giant blue whale. They did fight a land whale, an aboleth land whale. That was fun. So
Nice.
hey, there you go. That's close enough. But making a request to your DM, that's all good, I think. All right.
Absolutely.
You guys ready for the last one? I have no
Yeah.
idea. I think it's good though.
Hello. Not sure if I'm being a dead guy or not, but here goes nothing. I joined a campaign. The DM set a date for session 0 after the holidays. Some players tried to hook up a schedule for earlier, but I rather firmly said that it was stepping on the DM's authority. The DM wasn't around yet. We rather had a concerningly long argument about it until the DM confirmed that it would be after the holidays. Later, we had a chat about characters. I got a complicated idea for my character, and one of the other players kept butting in, trying to poke suggestions after I told no. I messaged the group about it bothering me, how much he seemed to be hogging attention and micromanaging me, and the next day the scheduling player left. I fear it might be because of me. There's a lot of nuisance that I'm cutting off due to brevity, but I don't know. What do you think? And keeping up the good job, Crispy. I really like your videos. It actually is what inspired me to come out of my shell and try joining this campaign. Have a good one.
Sorry it didn't work out, man.
Oh. I mean, that's magical
bad.
when we can get new players into the game. Love that.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. But I mean, what are your thoughts? Your thoughts first before I go.
Yeah. That's a rough situation because it's just
Just
like...
to clarify, just in case people don't get it, basically what happened was they get this game together. DM says, "Hey, we're gonna do this after the holidays." Another player is like, "No, I want to do it before the holidays." Sets a schedule, and the other players are like, "Hey, you're stepping on DM's toes here." The DM comes in, is like, "No, we can't do it before the holidays. It's after the holidays." The scheduling player jumps in on our caller here, trying to micromanage their character. The caller asks them to stop, and then the micromanaging player leaves. The scheduling guy leaves, and the caller feels bad about it.
Yeah. That's...
I mean,
yeah. Felix,
It's
do you
a
want to
tou-
go?
I can do that if you want, but it's a bit of a tough situation. Well, it's not tough as much as it's just I get that it's unpleasant. This is almost not really D&D advice. This is a bit of life and people advice. I can't speak for the other person. I don't know all the context. I'm not sure why schedules are being made without the GM there present. That is weird.
You can't
but
play
okay.
without the DM, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
to tell you, man.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, hey, you just gotta communicate. If you're making your character and you're feeling dang passionate about how that character looks and you don't want someone messing with it, you should be allowed to express that. And as long as you're not being an ass about it, there's no problem with that. If they're taking issue with it, that's their issue, not your issue. And perhaps it's for the best that that player left because maybe they thought, okay, this is not going to be something I'm too comfortable with. They're moving on to something else. Okay, sure. It's not the end of the world. I still hope that, hey, you can talk with the other players, with your GM, and figure out something new. And
Yeah.
this is just talking, discussing, making sure everybody knows what's going on, and moving on with life. Nobody likes to remove a player from the table or have one get up and leave, but hey, that's life.
It sounds like the
happens.
person is just super controlling. That's just
Yeah,
the
and
number
also,
one
frankly,
thing.
like, man, I'm gonna be honest. There's a part of me that says good riddance because if they're that micromanaging during character creation,
Yeah.
I do not want to know what it's gonna be like. Oh man, in combat, in roleplay, that is
Decision
No one
making.
likes being, yeah.
Yeah.
No one likes being micromanaged when you're trying to like actively play the game. And in character creation, it is usually much more casual.
Definitely. So yeah, there's some control issue, I suppose, but we don't know enough context to give a full
Yeah.
ruling on it here. We're not the judges of the situation.
Yeah.
Death.
Oh, maybe this is a
Communicate
great
clearly.
guy. Yeah, maybe it's a great guy, but if this is I think that there is a lesson to be learned here. Like, remember that kind of micromanagement. Sometimes people just feel like they're trying to help, And, we see that all the time here at the tavern. People think like, oh, I'm just trying to help the players. I'm trying to help if they're new. And that's great. Like, it's awesome to try and help. But at the end of the day, they got to learn to make their own decisions eventually, right? And if you keep on making them for them, they're never going to learn. So you got to like figure out that balance of help and control and realize what you're actually trying to do. Are you trying to help or are you trying to control? And then figure out like, is my control helpful? Do they want it? And if they don't, maybe stop. Maybe talk to them about it and ask, like, do you want me to stop telling you what to do? Because a lot of the time the answer might be yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just, to summarize, keep doing you, reflect on the experience, do not quit D&D, look for a new experience. Like, look for the same group or another group, keep going, you will not regret it.
Also, include the DM in scheduling, guys. Like, what the heck?
That's the best part of the whole story, in my opinion. We made this whole schedule and didn't tell the GM yet. Like, what? Okay, you're going to sit around a table and just, like, eat the snacks without the story, without the GM?
You need the DM there to play, guys. Like, fundamentally, include the DM in scheduling. Like, just like how you should include all the players, include the DM. Like, that's the most buck wild part of it.
Yeah. It's like a cart
Absolutely.
without a horse.
Exactly. But yeah, there you go. That's is that our final one? Do you guys want the crazy one, or am I saving that for myself?
You know what? Hit us, but if it's too crazy, we'll just cut it out.
I can give you a content warning before.
Oh no, hit us.
Because remember my friend. Oh, don't wait. Hit you? Do you want to be surprised? You sure?
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. I didn't think you guys would want it. My last guest didn't. My last guest backed out. Totally respect, by the way. Hold on, I'm pulling up SpeakPipe right now to get the voicemail.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh boy, here we go from Dark Sonic.
Oh, it starts out right.
It starts out proper.
Hey, Crispy. Long fan of the channel. Love all the stuff you do. Keep up the good work, man. Horror story I have today is something that didn't happen to me, but I heard from the aftermath from friends who I am playing with now. This happened back when we were all in college. They were all part of a group who played a homebrew 5e game where the DM was a bit of a lazy DM, allowed homebrew in, but didn't do anything to balance check it. Let the players do all the world building themselves and rarely gave his own input. Things like that. The more problem things he did was he did date one players of that group who that player's Jewish. And when they broke up, that DM decided, hey, you guys are going to be working for quote-unquote literal Nazis. Uniform and all. And a more problematic thing he did that caused the players to leave was when that one player couldn't make it to the session, when everyone asked, like, oh, what happened? Hey, DM, what happened to this PC? It's like, oh, yeah, I don't have to worry about her. She got drugged, and the really bad thing happened to her. And everyone quickly left after that and never played with that DM again. Yeah, man, Crispy, love your channel. Keep up all the good work. And yeah, keep rocking on.
So this is perfect because we didn't have a horror story to tell. We got this horror story delivered to us.
I told you. You didn't take any warnings, man. I had them ready. I had everything lined up. Whole presentation ready. I didn't listen to that in advance. My friend just told me, like, bro, it's juicy. You'll feel like Gossip Girl. And I'm like,
oh, juicy is right.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Where do you start?
I don't know where to start.
I
That's
mean,
just
take
insanity.
that DM and throw him in the trash. It's just like, I don't know. Like, that's.
I mean, if
so
you want
many things are
factual
wrong.
advice. Yeah. Factual advice, that DM sucks. From what I've heard in this story, or from the information contained in this voice clip, that GM should not be GMing ever again until they learn their lesson.
You can't mess with
God.
players like that. That's so messed
Wow,
up.
dude, that is so messed up.
That's just messed up. It's not like it's like.
What are you guys' opinion? Obviously, like, this is interesting because you two are together. So, I mean, this GM started this whole situation because a girl in the group broke up with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
petty. So petty.
That's just petty. That's not even D&D stuff. That's just real life petty person not handling it well.
Yeah.
Exercising a bit of power in through a game.
being creepy.
Abusing
but,
the power, rather.
Yeah, abusing the power, being creepy, and like
I don't know.
If you're
if this
in
is a
a
hot
situation.
Sorry?
Go. Oh, okay. I was
I was
gonna
about
say
to
that
Yeah,
if
go.
you're having a breakup with one of the players, it's like, okay, you need to step back and just like, you need like a month off. Like, just chill
Take
out.
it back.
Yeah,
take
it back
before you do
Chill
something
out.
really stupid.
And they obviously did.
Yeah.
Really, I will say, and this might be a hot take, but I have to say that we talk about problem players way too much. Because in my opinion, problem DMs are way worse and always will be. And I'm a DM. I haven't played this game in 3 years. So I'm going to say that with 100% confidence. Problem DMs are way worse.
Well, because everybody gets affected. It's not
Yeah.
just like, I mean, though problem players can be affected, everybody else too, but it's just like the DM already has control in the whole situation because
Yeah,
they control the world.
The
So
GM has a responsibility for player safety, and this person did not uphold it. You know, I gotta say, again, limited context. Is like a minute 30 of context of this crazy story.
Well, he only had a minute 30, so, dude's good.
I just want to say, good for her for breaking up with that GM. Good for her.
I imagine the relationship lasted a week, maybe.
that's
I
my
don't know.
headcanon.
This kind of behavior in gaming points to deeper issues. And,
there's a deep
so-
issue there. There's control.
Welcome to Crispy's Tavern. We see this kind of crap all the time.
No, absolutely crazy story. Can't believe it kept on going. Like after we arrived at Jews versus Nazis, and then hearing, but it gets worse. It's like, what?
But it gets
What?
worse? How? To be fair,
how? It's like, oh,
often-
she got raped. Perfect.
we can't say that.
Oh,
Often,
yeah, edit.
I will edit here, just right. Yeah. Boom. But often we'll see like, oh, it got worse because the information was contained in the same session. So like, people will be sitting at the table, the GM busts out something crazy, and you're just sitting there, deer in headlights. You don't even know what to do. You don't know what to say. Like, you're just stuck there. And it's like, it's a terrible feeling, man. Like, I've been there when you're at the table. I was a DM. I got a player who said something out of the box, just way out of left lane. And I'm just sitting there like, what? Like, why would you even say that? And we all just like sat in silence for 5 seconds, then we just move on because you just don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, leaves you stunned, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're just stunned. It's the stun condition.
Verbal stun. But
stun.
I mean,
That should
when
be a
it's this
spell.
outrageous, the session should have just been stopped right then and there.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Get
if it's
out.
not quite so severe, glance over it, talk about it after the session. Like, bro, not cool. Never again.
This was severe.
This is severe. Like, oh, come on. This is not a session. This is just a disaster.
That's a
That's
disaster.
not D&D.
But yeah, there you go. There's a little taste of classic Crispy's Tavern incel nonsense. We haven't had something that bad. That's the worst voicemail, though. Because all the voicemails are pretty tame. Like, normally they're like, yeah, this guy was kind of sexist. This guy was a bit of a rules lawyer, etc. That's insane, though.
Yeah.
But the
No, this
torture
is
one that
insanity.
Joe Cat had to endure, that one was also pretty crazy. It's between this and the torture one. Go in the comments. Tell me which one's worse. The Joe Cat torture one or the Dingo Doodles Nazi one. Which one, guys?
Let's not call it the Dingo Doodles Nazi one.
Nah, totally. It's trademarked now, right? What?
Oh,
Okay,
God.
anyway. Okay, I'll get you guys canceled. Watch out. But before, Harry, I'm a rat now. Hey guys, how you doing? But in any case, before we end off the episode, like, let's just cleanse our hands of whatever the hell we just listened to. Actually, whatever the fuck we just listened to. There's our one for the show.
There you go.
Used it. Used it up.
God.
Might as well exhaust the budget. What, did you want it?
No, it's okay.
But let's jump into Thing of the Week. Hit the thing.
Dingo, take it away.
All right, Dingo, what's your Thing of the Week?
Yeah, I got to see the Mario movie.
I shouldn't have let you go first. Damn it.
Yeah, I got to see the Mario movie and I was happy about it. So, yeah, that was my great thing of the week.
Awesome. I heard
hate
it was
you.
really good. Like,
It
shockingly
is.
good.
It's pretty
but
good.
Yeah, my baby brother did not like it, though. He didn't like it, so I was like,
That's okay.
Did I like it? No.
You tell him to
Well,
shut
he-
up.
No!
He just said, he's just not into, he doesn't look past, like, the kids movie thing, so
Yeah.
he's just
Oh,
like,
okay,
I don't
that
know.
makes sense.
But I think I can't look past it, so I think we'd be good. I think I'd like it. But yeah. In any case, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was fun.
Felix, you want me to take the next one just so you got time?
Oh no, it's okay. I've got time. I mean, I just want to
say
say that
right here.
I just want to say, first of all, Bowser is my single favorite villain of all villains in all media ever created, and I'm very happy with the way he turned out in the Mario movie. I mean, I could say the D&D, sorry, not the Mario movie, the D&D movie, because we watched that like just a couple days prior to the Mario movie, and that was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I loved
Who's your
it. It was
favorite?
like a good middle ground between, the whole like trying to be a serious show, but also like this is D&D, this is really dumb, and we love it, And
Who's your
best
favorite party member? God, no.
It's got to be Helga.
Hell yeah.
I mean, there's no contest.
Helga's
Come
awesome.
on.
By the way, she's not a dwarf, and I feel so stupid because I said throughout my entire episode on the project that she was a dwarf, and now I feel dumb. I feel so dumb. She's a human from some tribe or something else. Like, I don't know anything about Forgotten Realms, man. I'm sorry. Like,
I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised she was a human, because I thought, based on like, oh, she's tribal and stuff, I thought they were going to go for Goliath. Also, she's a bit larger, right? But no, I guess not quite large enough to be a Goliath.
maybe she is a Goliath, and I just really have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just
No, I looked it
into this whole-
up. She's officially human.
Yeah, we look.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
One
What
thing
about
I
yours?
didn't like about that movie. Oh, I was about to say.
Go
How'd you
ahead.
guys feel about the halflings?
That confusing. I don't know.
I love
was
how they look so
confused.
out of place in the movie.
It looks
Yeah.
so out of place, man. I don't know. I just grew up with Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, I just, I know that I don't want you to rip off hobbits or anything, but just rip off hobbits, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that bad. They did a good job.
Respect for the scene where they're like, when they're sitting in chairs opposing each other and talking and they shake hands. So like respect. That was a well shot scene.
Yeah.
Like,
Good job.
like cinema. Well done.
Yeah, good job. They had a child fill in for the
Yeah.
show, by the way. So this is the BTS. That
Also,
was
I love
awesome.
that they worked like with physical effects. Like they had actual puppeteering, and
Practicals,
animatronics and stuff.
mhm.
Practical effects. That's awesome.
Oh, the
Respect.
Dragonborn is so good. Oh, it was
Yes.
such a good effect.
Very cool.
CGI wasn't bad either. Some of it was kind of rough around the edges, but most of it I thought was pretty good.
Well, I mean, the cat folk was hilarious. But anyways,
Yeah. All right, my thing of the week. Hit the thing. My thing of the week this week is Beef, the Netflix show. This show is the most relatable thing I've ever seen, and if you're a fan of RPG horror stories, you're going to love this too, because it's all about it starts normal. It's just a little bit of road rage that spirals out of control into absolute madness. And every week on Crispy's Tavern, 8 times a week, we read some crazy story about how somebody started a D&D game or a TTRPG game, Vampire the Masquerade, whatever, and then it just spirals out into madness that just never ends. So if you like that kind of thing, watch Beef, because it's a great show, beautifully shot, soundtrack is awesome, all the actors are putting in 100%. It's only about 5 hours. I actually binged it just this afternoon, so it was great, had a good time. That's my thing of the week. But in any case, there you go. Hope that cheered you guys up after whatever we just listened to.
Yeah, he needed a cleanser.
definitely. God, Beef should
almost
hire
forgot.
you to do their ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in any case, guys, before we end off the episode, there's one last thing we gotta do. Roll out the red carpet. Tell us what you got going on this week.
Oh. Well, I
Wow.
mean, yeah, I was like,
If you're
"Ugh."
having dinner, you can let us
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
works.
I'm animating all week this week. I'm gonna be just drawing and drawing and drawing, and I'm happy. I'm in my zone. So that's what I got going on this week. Getting you guys episode 30 as fast as I can.
Hell
I just love
yeah.
that reaction. Just what do you got going on? So good. It's like, oh, that good, huh?
Yeah, that
Yeah. I mean, it will, this is coming out the 20-something. Is there anything going on that week? Not necessarily this week?
good. Oh yeah.
Nah? 26th?
Not that I could say. Like, yeah, I can't picture as far. I'm hoping I'm gonna
I
keep
respect that.
animating by that point. I mean, I'm gonna be animating until mid-May, I think. So.
Oh, that's, I respect that kind of dedication. I release like 4 times a week. So, like, I don't have the attention span to be working on a project that long. So, I respect that.
Yeah. No, she's crazy. She releases full-length episodes.
Hell yeah. But in any case, guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, then please do leave a like. If you want to see more of our content, then you can check out our Tabletop Tavern Tip series. It's currently taking a long rest, but that doesn't mean you can't binge it. It's linked in the cards for some D&D advice. And while you're there, subscribe to Crispy's Tavern to get more of our content words are hard, right as it comes out. And also subscribe to Dingo Doodles to get more of their content. I'm sure you're already subscribed, but you know what Bear's saying. And finally, if you want to leave your own stories or thoughts, go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment, just doodling, to let me know you made it to the end of the video. And that's just like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time, or we will see you all next time. Farewell.
Bye.
Bye.